Hi, my name is Kawani, and welcome to my new series where I go around to local and small businesses and try to showcase as many as possible and give them the attention they deserve and they need. So today I'm at 421 Main Street with the artist Loft in Haverhill, Massachusetts. This is a LGBTQ plus friendly hair salon who prides themselves on inclusivity. And we are going to meet with the owner Danielle today and show you inside. This episode is just special to me because I'll show you just 1 second. I actually grew up right down the street, just a house right there, and that's the salon. Now we can take a look at the salon and go meet with the owner, Danielle. The outside was just done beautifully, and when you walk into this beautiful seating area on your left, and plenty of refreshments and snacks for the guests, some reading material, and I just loved this decor above the window. The rainbow is just so cute. Just the attention to detail is crazy. She uses an array of Kevin Murphy products, which I personally love Kevin Murphy products, so great choice in my opinion. And I just thought that it was so funny. Just in the bathroom, like you can tell just the care and the details that she puts into every part of the salon. Like you can tell it's just so customer oriented. I absolutely love it. Let's meet with Danielle. All right, I'm sitting here with Danielle, the owner of the Artist Loft, and I just thought that we would do a little icebreaker.
I'm here for it.
You ready for a competition?
Oh no, okay.
I'm competitive, so
I'm not, so it's gonna be interesting.
Okay, you have to beat me 2 out of 3 games.
Okay.
Okay, first, rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, okay. It was 1 point for me.
Yeah.
All right, next, thumb war.
Okay, well, this is not also
right,
good.
Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war. And what you didn't even.
So cold.
I know. Sorry. Oh my god. Yeah. My fingertips are always cold.
I feel you.
You didn't even try.
I'm honestly not very. I'm not.
No.
Not competitive.
All right.
There's room for us all.
And for a final challenge, staring contest.
Oh boy. Okay, this I feel like I can do.
All right. I'm not sure how good I am.
I feel like so I'm gonna laugh, and that's why I have a tough time.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Can't stay serious. I'm really sorry.
I
was overconfident.
I know.
I'm also like twitching. Like, stay still.
I'm shocked because.
Listen, I don't have Botox anymore, so it's not holding in place the way I needed to.
Oh my gosh, that's something I would love to kind of get into. More just like, where'd you get it?
Just my forehead. So when we had our grand opening here, we had a bunch of pop-ups with like local businesses. So we had a girl that had come in to do Botox injections, B12, esthetician as well to come and do like mini facials. And she was like, obviously it's a big thing. She's like, I need to use this on someone. Do you want to sit? And I was like, sure. I don't know. Because it's like something like I feel like so many people talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like I know nothing about it considering.
I know. I really don't know like
so I
much
looked at her and I was
about
like,
it.
what would you do? Like, you know, because I feel like it's such a great tool if you don't feel good about something. But like we always pick ourselves apart. So I'm like, you tell me what I need, but then all of a sudden now I'm noticing all these little things. So she had done it like literally just above like my brow area. It is the weirdest feeling because it like kind of freezes over a couple of days. So like even like a couple hours later, I'm like laughing and I notice like my eyebrows aren't moving as much. Like,
that would freak me out.
Yeah, I am very expressive too. So I did love having it, but I also felt like my face just constantly was like You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it wasn't a bad thing, but it was like I just missed sometimes my little bit of personality. But my photos and everything I took were like every time I got it.
I feel like maybe what I'm more looking for is like filler, just like a little bit like
Yeah,
around
I
here.
also didn't know that filler is hyaluronic acid, so
Mm.
it attracts moisture to your face. So if you're someone who suffers from like dry skin or anything, like it helps with that. So
Oh my,
she
so
talked.
I extra need it. No, because
Yeah,
I do
she
struggle.
didn't like talk me into it. I was asking her questions about it because I loved my lips, but like I was just getting a flip, which is also Botox, but it
Yeah.
wears off so fast. She was talking to me about filler and I was nervous about it. And she's like, and we're talking about all these things. So I did it just in my top lip. And this like season has been so dry. My lips are nice and luscious though. So I'm like, it's been working great. So now
Hey.
like, where else can we put this?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You feel brand new all of a sudden. You're like,
No, literally. I feel like I just like awoke from like
yeah,
a three
awful
month
slumber.
slumber. Yes. Oh, all right. So yeah, I just have some basic questions just
hmm
about you and the
Yeah.
business. So first, how long have you been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry 11 years this upcoming May.
Oh wow.
And then I went to a vocational school. So I actually had learned all of my hospitality education while I was in high school. You're
Right.
really adding that extra 4 years on. We got quite some time under our belt, but I really only count for when I was working in a salon and like fully licensed. So
Yeah.
11 years in May.
Did you go to Whittier?
No, I went to Greater Lowell, so I'm from
Oh,
Lowell
okay,
originally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think like a lot of the schools around, like it's more local here, but you don't
Hmm.
realize even like going like kind of like west or like or south, like there's not as many vocational schools. So
Yeah,
even some
no.
areas in Mass, like people are like, "You went to what?" And I'm like,
I
hard to
think yeah, we have
explain.
it Haverhill, Lawrence, and Lowell
Yeah,
all
and then
have
I think there's
vocation.
one in like Worcester or something, but other than that, there's not that many. And then depending on where you go state to state, because even like when I've done trainings like other places, they're like,
Yeah.
huh? Because it's confusing to explain to people that like I basically was like 18, fully licensed and like ready to go. And they're like,
Right.
okay.
I went to Timberlane just over the
Yeah,
border,
yeah,
so I was always like so upset that I didn't go to a vocational school because
yeah.
I knew I wanted to do hair.
hmm
So I kind of had this like attitude in school. It's like, oh, like I don't want to do math because I'm not going to need it. Like I know I'm not going to need
Yeah.
it. Like
Yep.
I know what I want to
I
do.
felt the same way, and math and science were my worst subjects. I thrived in ELA and history, but like
Yeah.
my whole job is math and science. So I was like, maybe I didn't need it.
No, yeah, you actually don't realize how much
Yeah,
you need to
it's
like
a different
formulate
yeah,
and
it's a different practical way, like, of doing it, you know what I mean?
right.
Rather than it being like y equals mx plus b on a paper. Like it's just you're back there like making potions. Like
Oh my, yes. That's something I do miss. Like I loved like formulating. I
yes.
really did, and I was good at it.
And it's
Like
problem solving. Like,
yeah.
because you could use the same formula on 12 different people, but it's going to look different on every head, which is so cool. It's like,
Mhm.
and you're never bored. And I think that's what I like about like doing hair in general or just this industry is because like even school related, I don't sit well. Like, I need to be like
Yeah.
working with my hands and like feeling like I'm
Same.
not just like stuck in a box all day because then I get too antsy and then we get ourselves in trouble. But
Yeah, and I like it just brings like, it's something kind of different every day. It's not the same
Mhm.
exact like
Yes, yeah.
routine.
And even if you're seeing the same people, there's new things they want to try. Like their hair may be in a different condition because we're in a different season, so it's very different every time. Keeps you on your toes.
Exactly. So I did cut you off
Yeah, that's
earlier when
okay.
you were going to tell me about how you decided
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
this business. So that's my next question is, yeah, when did you decide to open your own business and why?
Yeah, so I never actually really saw myself, not that I didn't see myself owning a salon, but to me that was like my retirement goal. I wanted to like stop doing hair and just like run the business and like live my
Mm,
best life. And not need to like be here for it all.
right.
The salon I was working in was closing at some point in time. We didn't really know when. So I kind of had to a little bit of time, but not a lot to evaluate like where my next journey was in our career.
Mm,
And I had advanced enough where I felt like I could go off on my own, but was I ready for it on a financial level or physical level? Because obviously you're taking on and wearing all these different hats, being both the stylist but also like the entrepreneur in
it's a
general.
lot.
And as things were kind of progressing, I just kind of looked at my husband and I was like, I think we need to just look, just to see what our options are. And then this building happened to be for sale. And, I looked at my husband, I was like, I think we can do this. And I'm someone who's very calculated. I talk myself out of everything. I'm not even a good shopper because I will walk around the store with it and I'll put it back before I go. Like
Yeah.
I talk myself out of everything and my anxiety goes crazy, but something just felt right about let's just see, right?
Yeah.
We toured the space and I was like, okay, we looked at a couple other ones and I'm still just kind of like having this mental battle back and forth of just what to do basically, and felt a little bit in crisis.
Right.
And I'm one of 7, so I picked up my little sister. She's 12, so there's the biggest age gap between us all because I'm the oldest. And of course, she's like grounded. She doesn't have all of her phones and stuff in the car. So we're in the car, sitting in traffic, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm just sitting here, and like she's talking to me about her life, and I'm just stressed about work, right?
Right.
Trying to be present, but not. And my phone starts to ring in the car, and it shows in the CarPlay, and it's showing that she's calling me. She doesn't have her phone. And I
Yeah.
was like, looking at her, and of course she's like, I don't have my phone, it's off, and she's like panicking because like, how
Right,
could my
that's
phone
weird.
possibly be calling you? I don't have it, it's not me. So we giggle about it, I decline it, and then we keep moving on.
You
It does
didn't
it again.
answer?
No, what first? Because it was just fluky. I don't know, because I think she was so freaked out about it. I'm like, it's not a big deal, like,
Yeah.
it happens again. And I'm looking at her, and now she's really getting freaked out. And it happens the third time. So the third time I pick it up, and it's just dead silence on the other end. And I just kind of was like, okay, weird. And because I was like, maybe it's like one of like our other sisters at the house. But like, as far as we knew, because she was in trouble, my mom had like paused her phone plan. So even if she picked up her phone, like there was no service on it. So
Oh.
that was partially why like I didn't think to answer the call. Because as far as I knew, like the service line was like off because she was being fresh. Like,
Right.
so whatever, go about our day, think nothing of it. In the same week, we're having a lot of these conversations about like what to do with work. I go to bed stressed per usual about the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I wake up to a phone call from one of my other sisters. And when I wake up, or just in the middle of the night, I don't look at my phone because it keeps me up. I look at my husband's alarm, which is always like a minute or two off. It's 5:55 in the morning, and so I'm like, oh my God, like something's wrong. And this sister like doesn't call me. She's like that girl that sends me a TikTok here and there and is like, sup, can you do my hair?
Right.
No, all right. Like,
Course.
so I'm like, something's wrong. I pick it up. I'm like, I don't even say, are you okay? Everything fine? Like, what's going on? Nothing on the other, like nothing. Are you okay? Nothing.
I just
So I
felt
hang
like a
up
weird
and
chills.
and I text her in a panic, like, are you okay? And my anxiety is like up here. And then all of a sudden I look at the timing because this call happened quickly because obviously there's nothing on the other end.
Yeah.
So I look at the alarm clock again and I'm like, 5:55 in the morning. She wouldn't even be awake even for work. Like she's fine. And just this weird sense of calm came over me. And I was like, okay, well now I'm awake. So like let me scroll on Instagram. And there's a post from like one of my cousins of, a picture of her kids. The train in the background has a fat 5, right? Still thinking nothing of it. I scroll down a little bit and there's I don't know, some other post, 5, another post. And this one I stopped to read. I don't know if you follow the Only in Boston page, but it was talking about, they have like all silly stuff, but it's all like math or Boston based stuff. So I see this post about South Station and I stopped to read it because I'd been there multiple times in the last few months and it was a like shit show with the parking, like whatever. Yeah. So I was like, oh, let me read about this garage that they're building. And I'm not even kidding you. It said something like 5 stories, 5,000 something parking spots, like 5 this. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, that's a copious, like literally. And I'm just like in bed all cozy, like, huh?
It's always like you're like at that point you're like, no way is this a coincidence now.
Right.
Like
not only that, but like the 555s, all
you know what
numbers.
5 represents?
So that's exactly. I went and Googled it. I'm still in bed. Like I don't even think it's 5:57 yet. I'm putting this together, and I look it up, and it's talking about transformation specifically regarding like your workspace. And it was just the weirdest thing because after that, I looked at my husband. I've never felt so sure about anything. I was like, I think it'll be a little bit of a gamble to try because we had just bought our house like a year and a half prior. So like, there was just a lot happening. We ended up acquiring the space. And then, when I informed my my current bosses, I wasn't even leaving. We were just going to lease the space out. They were like, if you can give us, this was like mid-January of last year, if you can give us till the end of February, like we're just going to close in March. So we had to like pick up and get this done. And when I was kind of making the business itself, besides acquiring the space, I find that in this industry, and I'm sure you can relate because you've been in it, there's not enough space for people to just walk in and feel comfortable. You either have a salon that's like really, really dated, or maybe has a really specific style or really like bougie, and like, you know, I feel like it's hard to
No,
find a
this
place
is
that.
like so perfect in
Thank
here. Like I
you.
said, like I walked in here, I was like, oh no, it's like instantly like you're so comfortable. Like
And
it's
that's what I wanted. And like even people coming into like our physical home, like I'm like
hmm
I'm not like this with other people, which is I mean in other people's spaces, which I am in mine. I'm like, go in my cabinets, go in my fridge, make yourself at home. Here's the blanket, like
yeah,
you know that's how I am personally, and I
me
wanted that
too.
to feel that way when you walked in. And I think one of my friends put it well. She was like, people will walk in and kick their shoes off, and I'm like, it's happened. Like that was the goal, was just to create a warm space where like anyone could walk in and feel like they belong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that
And
as
you can
well.
tell like you really made that
Thank
happen.
you.
Like
Thank
it's
you.
that's exactly the vibes in here.
Yeah, and it just, you know, just having something warm and inviting is great, but also being able to put that into action I think is important. So like
hmm
being able to, I mean, I'm only one person. So, you know, trying to hit every service is tough, but I really want to build this space into something where if you want to come in and have lock services done or barbering services and things like that,
Yeah.
maybe I
Well, that
can't
was
physically do
actually
it.
one of my other questions is what services do you
Yeah,
provide?
so I primarily do, I mean, a majority of like hair services in general. So like your basic cuts, color, things like that. I personally specialize in color. I do
hmm
makeup as well, and that's kind of what I started in this industry. So I think color just in general is more my specialty.
hmm
So I love vivids, blonding, things like that. Obviously, we do a lot of makeup as well. I work weddings, so I kind of have my hands in a lot of pots, but primarily it
Right.
is color in general. So whether that be like on your face, in your hair, things like that. I love a good haircut, but like colors are like my bread and butter of it all.
hmm
You know, I do a lot of braiding and upstyling services as well because we do weddings and whatnot, but primarily
Right.
my services are cuts and color. And we hope to be able to hire people in the future to offer all these extra services that I physically cannot do and or master as one person, you know, for
Right.
time.
Yeah,
But
you said you were looking for someone what to a braider, like someone
yeah,
who
so we're just
specializes in
like
ethnic
looking
hair.
to be able to
Yeah.
offer more inclusive services in general. So, like,
Yeah.
ideally, the whole point of this place and it being an inclusive beauty bar was the fact that there's not enough places where everyone can just walk into and have their curly textured hair done, right?
Yeah.
Or they do and it ends up not going well. So, people who are curly specialists, right? I've had people walk in looking to get their locks or their braids done, and like I could try, but it's not going to be what you want to pay for, right? So, someone
Right.
who maybe specializes in that. You know, and nowadays too, there's a lot of just sensory related things too. If you want to have a sensory day, people who
Mm.
maybe specialize in working with children who have a disability or autism. We're already kind of in talks with a company that they're trying to make a nonprofit to come in and have them do like maybe one day a month. That yeah,
Oh, that would
yeah.
be
I love
awesome.
kids cuts, so I really take the time and I'll block the time in my schedule to like sit on the floor with them if we need to. But it's obviously not a lot of places have that. So
Mm.
just beauty professionals, and like if you have a specialty in that sense that like really can help us bring us to a broader audience. I hate having to tell
Right.
people, not just because it's a business, I hate telling people no, because it's like I
Yeah.
want to, I can't, you know.
Right. And I
So
think
we're
that's
really
so
open right
important to
now.
like realize and not let your ego and take over or your people
Yes.
pleasing tendencies take over and
Yeah.
say like, yeah, sure I can do that just to like appease
Hmm.
somebody
And
and
then
but
it not go
instead,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
but instead, yeah, just
The
like knowing
intent
your
is good, but if the skill set or the experience isn't there, like I don't want to do that to someone. So,
right.
you know, so primarily we're looking for licensed professionals in this industry that maybe have a sort of niche. We're open to like anything because it's just mostly me. We have a couple of renters in here,
Mm.
but they work part time and they're like semi-retired. So like they have their clientele and aren't ready to take more. So right now it's really just me in this space kind of like running a lot of it, which is lovely, and I love meeting new people, but I can't do everything.
Right. No, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's so
I used to like I used to want to own a salon for many years and then I did go like I was an independent contractor
mhm.
for the last good chunk of my career, but I don't know, the more I like learned about what goes behind a business, the more I was like, nah, I'm actually all set with
Yeah,
that.
not
You
even
just tell me what to
just
do and I'll do
yeah, not
it.
even just on like a financial level. Just like the silly things you don't
Yeah.
think of, like when it comes down to insurance policies and knowing certain laws and like
Yes.
how you
Like
can and can't pay people
inventory.
on a yeah, like oh my god, the color orders or like silly things too. Like even just we have snacks, our little refreshment bar, like stuff that
Yes.
I'm like, oh man, we're out of goldfish. Like, you know, like just little things like that. It really does add up. But I love doing it because it's so fun to see people's like like I think being in here too the last year, like watching people walk in and seeing them light up. And this was at a salon before, so some of them are repeat clients from before it was a salon. Some of them are my clients
Oh,
from my
okay, so
old
you got
salon.
people that were
Yeah, that were already
from.
coming here.
All
Yeah.
right.
So just kind of seeing everyone's reactions as well as the new clients that come in, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, like this is what I was supposed to be doing. Like the
Yeah.
signs were real, right? Like,
Yeah, no, and like so like I was telling you,
yeah.
and I'll just say it for the camera.
Yeah.
But so when I was little, I grew up, yeah, literally just that street right there. I
Mhm.
walked and I showed in the intro just how close it
Yeah.
was. But
Too bad you're not there. We can hang out every day.
no, I know, right? I would literally probably just walk over and hang
Like,
out in here.
don't mind us. This is just our Walmart greeter, basically, right? You're
Oh
gonna hear
my
and help us with our content, and that would
girl,
be
I would
amazing.
love that. But I used to I'm not even kidding. Like I had like planned, like I would be like I was young. I lived there till I
Mhm.
was 13. So I was young and I used to like just daydream about the
Mhm.
day I was old enough to get a job, and my plan was to work in here and to sweep hair
Yeah.
and to just like
Mhm.
learn and just be in the
Yeah.
industry. Like I was like literally I had in my head like no, I'm going to work here.
Yeah. It was,
And
I think, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like when you were a kid, like walking into a salon, especially when you have an interest of that, everything, like these are the coolest people you've ever met. Like this is the
yes.
coolest space I could be. And like walking and be like, I had my hair done. Like it's such a niche experience. I think it's also, and I don't know if you feel the same, but like when you've had that, you're like, this is what I need to do. Like,
Yes.
yes, yeah.
No,
Oh.
exactly.
So
And
here
I
we are
just
full circle, and now you're here kind of working in a different
exactly.
way, but like
Exactly. Like I just thought that was so beautiful. And again, like with synchronicities, just the
yeah.
fact that like this idea has just been so heavy on my mind and my heart and like just tugging at
Mhm.
my energy. And I just like have just really felt called
Yeah.
to do this. And then the fact that you were the first person that commented and reached out, and I was like, no, I just got chills. I
Yeah.
was like,
Well, it's
no
so funny because I had
way.
no way. I mean, your like page is pretty private. I couldn't
Yes, no, it's
message you,
very
whatever. But
private.
so I had no clue either. But then also just like the similarities of it being so close, like being in similar industries that we've both been in, like
Yep.
those little things, even just the spiritual aspect of things. Like I'm lightly spiritual, so like when the whole 555 thing happened, my husband thought I was nuts. But I was like, watch, and then sure enough, he goes, okay, you know.
It will
Those
always, yeah.
parallels. You're meant to be, and I'm firmly like a big believer in that more so. It's like you are meant to be on a path. You're meant to be there, and you're meant to
Mm-hmm.
meet certain people. It could be a
Yes.
lesson, a love, who knows? And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those things, like you really just kind of sometimes have to trust the process. As sucky as it is, especially if you want to be in control, and like it's hard
Yeah.
not to want to be in control. But I find that those things, and when you follow it, it really makes a big difference. Both
Yeah.
professionally, physically, mentally, all of these things. It really, you're like, I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah. I live my life following my gut and just my
Yeah.
intuition.
I
So,
need to
and
be better
like,
about that, but
it was a process. It
yeah.
was a process, but I'm here now and like, look at like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make magic happen.
Yeah, and it really kind of what it is. It is magic. Like I feel like people say it doesn't exist, but I think magic comes in so many forms, and I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
also a feeling. It could be a person, it could be an experience. I feel like we
Yeah.
we sometimes forget to like embrace those moments. I feel like that's a very good way to put it. Was like
Yeah.
the
I
magic of it
actually
all.
just recently wrote a philosophy essay on like whether
Yeah.
magic is real or not, and I backed it by science, and it's
Yeah.
like magic is just energy and
Yeah.
science is just giving us a logical way to explain
Mhm.
magic.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they're kind of one and the same to me.
Yeah, I
Like,
love that. I mean, you're gonna have to like post it so I can like
oh
read it.
my
I love that
god.
kind of stuff because it's just like a different way of thinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we kind of all, and this is just I think us as human beings, we could easily fall into these habits of these certain mindsets, and it could really bring us down. And I know like the mindset I was in when we needed to open this, I was like, do I just give up? I work in an office job and say screw it. Like
Right.
it's so hard to just trust and to just let it see if it can
Yeah.
flourish into something amazing. And I really can see this happening for this space. We just need some friends in here.
Oh my god. Well, that's what we're working on.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry. We
are.
will we
Yeah.
will make this whole city a whole brand new thing, cuz like there's just so much in Haverhill. Like
Mhm.
it's insane, and we have
I
like cool
yes.
ass spots
Yeah,
that
like
nobody knows about.
exactly growing up in Lowell. I mean, Haverhill, you drive through Haverhill, whatever, but like I
Mhm.
didn't know Haverhill. And, when we moved here about 5 years ago, I knew nothing. It was during COVID. Like, we couldn't really explore. And, like, still to this day, being here almost a full 5 years, I'm like, what is this little place? Like, whether it's a new spot or new or a store that's been there for years that I didn't know about. And, like, they really feel like does a really good job, like, keeping it small in a sense, like all the downtown shops and everything too. And, like, a lot of these places, like, really work together on a lot of stuff too, which I think is really cool because it's not just like you're walking into one place and it's like, oh, this is that business and everything else is competition. For the most part, what I've noticed is they all collaborate to some extent, and I love that so much. It's so important.
Yeah, actually, one of my questions was going to be, what is your favorite part about Haverhill?
Yeah.
Like, the city or the community. So, yeah, would you
Yeah.
say, just the
I
way people work
I feel
together?
like people too are a lot nicer. Like, I mean, when you are from, again, I'm coming here from like someplace else. Like, not that people in Lowell aren't nice, but if I'm out walking, I'm very like guarded. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily concerned for my safety, but aware of it.
Yeah.
I will never forget like walking our older dog for the first time in Haverhill and people stopping just have general like genuine conversation. And I was like, "We're talking to me?" Like, it was, and like
Right.
we'd have neighbors that we like knew, but they were never friendly. Our neighbors across the street are really, really friendly. They look out, they like have conversation. I'll come home, my husband will be like out talking to like the ladies across the street.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
it's very like I feel like community oriented in that sense. We have a charity program in here that we do every month. So like even discovering different charities in the area has been really fascinating.
Well, tell me about that.
Yeah, so as part of this, it is a business, right?
Yeah.
But not just hair. I wanted it to be like a collaborative space, and I wanted to feel like we were also doing good as part of that, and it
Yeah.
not just being a money grab, right? Because it's a business, which most people look at it as, but there are things that as hairdressers we can kind of, I don't want to say influence people to do in a way, but like you meet people of all walks of life.
Right.
So being able to kind of give back to that a little bit or like support the people that are
Yeah.
here. I really wanted to have something like put in place, not a specific charity, but something where we can help those clients, you know what I mean? So with that being said, it was like I have a client whose, grandchild's gone through cancer and things like that. I'm like, why wouldn't we then support a cancer fund a month or whatever maybe?
Right.
So each month we have a different organization that we sponsor in here, and I try to keep them local to like mainly Haverhill and like the North Shore area, but sometimes like things are a little niche and it's tough. So it's Massachusetts
Right.
in general, focus in North Shore and Haverhill. And it's different every month. Sometimes, I know April is like Autism Month. So, like, our first charity last year was the Doug Flutie Foundation. We raised money for autism awareness. Every June, I usually raise money for the Trevor Project. But this year, Haverhill is doing a Pride for the first time. So,
Yes, I saw that. I'm
yeah,
so
yeah. So I'm
excited.
hoping I think I'm gonna switch this year and just kind of donate to their fund for that instead. But we just highlight a different organization every month.
I love
Basically what it
that.
is like if you even donate $1, you get one of our fun little stickers, just a way of saying thank you for doing so. Depending on the month as well, like October being breast cancer, obviously pink is with that. So
Yeah.
we switch it up. Obviously we have our little like bucket that you can donate to, but we also did any hair services you got that were pink that month was also a portion of that
Oh,
one to it as
cute.
well. And like some months are better than others, but like we've raised a good amount of money in the last year for different
Yeah,
organizations,
I
and it
mean,
just
any
gets people
little bit
talking.
helps. Yeah.
It does, and the amount of conversation too that I have with people. I mean, so many of my clients have children with autism or someone near them with
Mm-hmm.
autism, and it's talked about a little bit more now. But I feel like these things are really kind of like becoming more spoken about, so people have a better understanding of it. And
Yeah.
for those who don't, it gives me an opportunity to talk about it from like firsthand, right?
Right.
Why this is. So our current charity right now is for disabilities. It's called Smile Mass. So they work to kind of create a space where these individuals with any sort of disability can come in and get like basically life skills and all different
Oh,
stuff like that.
wow.
So it's just a good way to start conversations, you know what I mean, as
Yeah.
well, because we're not just
I'll
a
have to like
business.
include them in this video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's been so many really cool organizations I didn't even know existed, and sometimes like I don't know, sometimes it's like what are we talking about in
No,
the
like I
world?
had never
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
about that.
right. Sometimes I'm inspired to pick a charity based off of like a current topic happening that's big in the news, or
Yep.
just interaction I have with a client that I was like, I really feel like that would be a good thing to focus on. My mom is a para for autism or autistic classroom, I should say, and a one-on-one for a little boy who was originally nonverbal when he started. Started working together, and I find that those little things, like learning even from her, made me want to feature that as our first one. So there's things to talk about. It's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna pick like on Google one random thing. There's a purpose behind it. But it's been interesting to hear conversations when people do see them, like, or whatever organization, they always have a story or something that usually goes in with that, and I just find it's a good way to connect with people too.
Exactly. That's what connects us.
Yeah, and it's something kind of fun too, because even like for October with like the pink incentive that we had, like people who would never have done it before were like, let's put a little extension in, you know, and it's for something fun, and it gets them out of their comfort zone, but it's also supporting a good cause. So it was something that was really important to me to include in here, that it's not just a business space and it's not just a hair salon. Like, we want to be in the community, we want to be helping people, because you have people from all walks of life with different stories, and like, why wouldn't we assist with that where we can, you know? And I think as hairdressers, there's just too broad of an audience you have to like not utilize that to touch upon, you know what I mean?
No, I absolutely, like, I just adore you. Like, I think like we think very similarly, like, you know,
I
very
don't think enough
like-minded.
people know what to do. Like, you feel so small, right? Like, you're just one person. And I say to people all the time, I mean, we have our art wall, which, you know, we can talk about afterwards, but like, I can guarantee, like, I can guarantee anything's gonna sell, but I'm like, it's giving you at least an opportunity to have someone see it, right? And even if they follow you on Instagram and like those small little things, like, people are just walking to the space, they always look for when we change over. Or, you know, they'll grab a lollipop on the way out and they're like, what charity do you have this month? Like, it's just things that are a little bit more involved. And there's so many lives you can touch with that without it just needing to be like, oh, it's just me, it's just my salon, it's just this, right? Like, you can still be bigger even though you feel small, right? Because I'm nobody, especially in an area where I did not grow up. But how can I help those people from where I am? You know, I may not have the biggest platform or whatever it may be, but that doesn't mean you can't still help someone else.
Yeah, you can still make a difference. You don't have to be like plastered all over TV and have like 600 million followers.
I've also found in the last year that kindness seems like a luxury to a lot of people, which is wild to me, because like, so many people walk in, they're like, you're so nice. I'm like, is that not normal? Like, I don't get it. I know.
Unfortunately.
I know, it kills me. But it just, to me, like, as much as these things, like, people are like, oh my God, that's awesome. It was no question.
It's and like, and it's like people like us, that just kind of comes like second nature to be thoughtful and considerate like that. But then you have to realize, like, oh wow, that's not like a normal thing when
it is your livelihood. Like, that's right. I wouldn't treat you any different in here than I would seeing you in a market basket. Like, it's and it's, if you can have the space to hold for someone or whatever, like, why wouldn't you? Like, I have nothing to lose, you know. And even, you know, things happen, it's like, that's where you learn and you grow, but then you make these special connections too, which is amazing, because you never really know where things could bring you. So I feel like that little kindness goes a long way.
And I always feel like with me personally, like, sometimes I feel like, I love to do like social media just for like fun, like entertainment stuff. I love to entertain people. I love being silly. I love being goofy. Whatever. I love doing fun trends, but at the same time, I also feel a responsibility to use my platform when I can, you know, for any type of advocating or activism or whatever. So like, my TikTok, you know, just warning, everybody is a little political if you go on there. Because I do try to, you know,
but regardless of where you said, they're good conversations to have, you know, because it is our lives. And I think, like, in here, that is not something we really talk about, but for a reason, not because it's not important, but because there needs to be some spaces we can go and just clear your brain and just be in the moment and be silly, and things on the opposite end. But these things are relevant and they're important, and it's important,
and it's good to have about. Just like a balance, so that's what I try to do. It's like, no, it's okay. I just try to like use my energy wisely, you know what I mean? Like, I use the fun stuff to like be balanced and grounded and recharge, so that I do have the energy to like really advocate for something when it's needed.
For sure. And that was also like you said, with the charity programs. I'm pointing over here.
No, yeah. So I thought you were pointing to the camera.
Hey. The reason why that's there too is because even though it's not something we talk about, there are still very relevant conversations that need awareness, right, within the political atmosphere or not. And even though it's not something we speak about, it is still something we recognize, and it's something that in a more positive way and more positive light we can highlight these things to make a better difference, because we all have feelings about it, right? We can't shut them off,
right? And unfortunately it's now it's too much in our lives.
And it's just at the end of the day, like, to me, we need to just, regardless of what your preferences are, we need to lead as kind humans and be good humans and whatever, and the rest of it is just kind of like argumentative, you know what I mean? Right. So it's like, as long as you're being a good human, that's cool with me. But the things that we can do to kind of control how this makes us feel, and the little power we feel like we have with something so much larger, is something sometimes as small as, and it's not small at all, but we feel like it's small in comparison to like these big newspapers and stuff, like posting on our TikToks our opinions on it, me having these charity programs. Like, it's just important to speak your mind, but also let people know that they're not alone in it all, and that like you can use your voice for good, and you can take charge of how this makes you feel and do something better with it, rather than just sitting in it and letting it feel very, very heavy.
That's something I'm very big on, is alchemizing your energy and your emotions, because I think we're so taught that like sadness or anger are negative emotions. They're not. They're human emotions. And you can use that to fuel something for good. You don't have to just sit and stew and suppress everything, because realistically that's not going to do anybody any good.
A hard tool to keep in your toolbox to keep yourself in that mindset of it all, right? Because it's so, I think those feelings are so strong, which is why people look at them as negative, but they're strong for a reason. They're strong because they're meant to make you feel the importance of why you're feeling it. And I think you're right. Like, you really got to take that and like, where can I put this that's not going to keep me feeling like I'm in this box? And
right. Like, how can I work through this energy and get it out of me and doing something constructive and not destructive.
Yeah. And I will say, like, opening any business, and I'm sure, like, especially with you having this new like featured program, right, with all the other businesses in Haverhill, I'm interested to watch future ones to see if other people feel the same, because being a business owner can be so incredibly beautiful. It can be amazing. You're gonna have god awful days and things that happen too, but like the emotional whiplash. There'll be 1 second I'm so happy and laughing, and then I'm sobbing, and then I'm like sobbing because I'm happy. Like, it's just all over the place.
I get that.
Sometimes can be feeling a little isolating, or maybe when things are slow and things like that. But then it's like you have these really magical or like monumental moments, and you're like, this is why. And I feel like, again, when you're feeling that's reflected, can make a big difference. But that, what you're saying, is something I had to really channel and like control within myself, because I can easily fall into like the rabbit hole of an emotion.
Right.
So, like, trying to keep that in check a little bit, while also servicing people that are also on an emotional whiplash in their own lives. Like, it is interesting to kind of see that. And I find that because I'm able to carry, hopefully always, or most of the time, that energy for myself, how it affects the people coming into when they leave, kind of being able to bounce that. Because if you just have two negative energies against each other, it's not a good time, so even if you have one that's feeling a little blue, and I'm here like, oh, I feel like it can be a lot, they leave feeling a little lighter to it. I feel like helps, because it's not just how it makes you feel, you bounce off of other people too, and that makes a big difference. And just like going out into the world and stepping with a little bit of a brighter energy in that sense.
On that note, I did want to ask you, what do you think is your biggest challenge that you've faced so far?
Ooh, that's a really good question, because there's so many challenges.
And
I honestly, kind of what we just talked about, I think the biggest challenge is keeping yourself involved, but in check in how it makes you feel, right? Because like, we joke, like, I don't have like human children, but like, this is my baby, right? Because in a way, you do birth the place, right? And
you're tending to it and caring
and you're raising
for
it, and you want it to have good values and make people feel good, right? Like, my best friend has like 4 kids, and like, big kid family. Like, I'm used to seeing like human babies, but like having a space that like talks but doesn't talk, right? It's been something that's been challenging for me because again, it's a business, but it says so much about you, about what you provide, things like that, but also not letting that define myself too. If we have a bad day and like, things are going to happen if someone's like unhappy with the service, or maybe we got to tweak something, like how can we fix this and be better? Or, maybe we've had, oh my goodness, this is an old building. So like having like little things falling apart, it's like not letting that define me and like what we are building. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's been the biggest hurdle, is my relationship with myself, but also my relationship to the business and the relationship to the business as a whole, to like everything, right? Because it's like you're trying to do all these things at once. I just feel like that has been the biggest thing. I've had to take a step back and be like, okay, calm down, breathe. How do you help yourself? Like,
no, that's perfect that you like are getting in or have gotten into the practice of that, because so clearly this is like a personal growth experience also.
Absolutely. And I feel like being in the industry for so long, not that it's easy, but it was easy to transition services in here. It felt like every day, and I don't feel, I know I own the place, but I always joke that I just pay the bills, because at the end of the day, like I love my job, so it doesn't feel like work, right? But that wasn't a challenge for me. And when it came down to the business aspect of things, like I had started a business 3 years ago. I'm back and actually taking classes for it. So I had a really good foundation for that. And I absorbed everything I could, podcasts, whatever. So that wasn't, there's going to be challenges within it, but it wasn't feeling like a challenge for me. So I have to say, and I know most people don't have this, like this all went so easy. The biggest challenge I had was myself.
Well, so now, like you said, like I'm curious as to like who else is gonna like relate to that and stuff.
And I feel like no one around me really has ever owned a business, or maybe they do like some freelance work like on the side or something, but like having a like physical space that you've created that is yours, it's been interesting because I have so many supportive and amazing people around me, but it's also a little, not like super isolating, but a little isolating sometimes, because you're just like, I have no one who really understands the extent of this, so it'll be really interesting, because even though they're not all the same type of business, like like if they can kind of feel some parallels there, but even taking the classes I'm taking, it's all entrepreneurs, so like so maybe already have had a business or launching, it's been interesting. So I'm like, oh, I'm not alone in that, because it just, when it's just you and you're starting out, you're like a hot mess in the brain, like
it's
like,
it's so many like deets. Oh my god, there's just so much. Like I said, like I saw what went into it, and I was like, no thanks, that's not for me.
And I didn't have an exposure, like, I mean, we had like a salon like growing up that we went to, but we weren't there that consistently for me to like see it, and like then when I went into high school and was doing it in that space, like it's a school, so it's a salon, but it's not, so that real exposure to see the behind the scenes wasn't something I got until way later. So that definitely changes like the tone of it all.
Sorry, I was just looking through my
okay.
my other questions.
There's some good ones.
Thank you. I guess that's real. I think we covered really everything I had, so I thought maybe we could just end with some rapid fire this or that questions.
Okay.
All right,
I'm
just
here for
something
it.
fun. All right, ready? Hot or iced?
Ooh, iced.
Fall or winter?
Fall.
Spring or summer?
Summer.
Cats or dogs?
Ooh, that's a tough one. We don't have cats. I'm gonna say dogs.
Okay. Bad Baby or Alabama Barker?
Oh my god. So
quick, no, answer one.
I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go with Bad Baby because we have the same name.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, true. Morning.
I haven't really been following that, so I'm like, oh.
You were the right choice. Morning or night?
Night.
Dress up or dress down?
Ooh, dress up, but I'm always dressed down.
I feel that. Team Blake or Team Justin? Do you know? Do you follow that?
No.
All right, skip.
Okay.
Go out or order in?
I'm out.
Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, Coke.
Sweet or sour?
Sour.
Books or movies?
Books.
Tent camping or RV camping?
RV. I need a shower.
Really? I love to. I'm like, I think I'm the only person who prefers like well, not only. Like, I prefer tent camping.
I will do it, but truly my biggest fear in life is spiders. And the one time we tent camped, I'm not even kidding, you could see the shadow of one, and I was like,
yeah,
like,
I'm like psycho about making sure the zippers are like
yeah.
closed, but I think
Scares
that's
me
all
a
I
lot.
had for you today. So
Thank you so much.
Actually, real quick, tell me about your art program.
Yes,
Sorry,
so
oh my god.
this kind of ties into our name. So everyone gets a little confused when they come by and they see that we're the Artist Loft, because I've gotten, are you a tattoo shop? Are you a
No, I actually like I love that you named it that and made it like, no, this is like all different
I think
types of
once you
art.
come in, it makes sense. But because I did hair and makeup, artistry as a whole. But I also love how creative this industry is and whatever. And there's all kinds of creatives. So funny enough, we have our art wall here. That's where I was going with it. She's a hairdresser. So I know a lot of hairdressers have other outlets as well. And I know painting and drawing and things. Yeah, that's so funny. She works like in Salem.
Oh wait, that's her.
Yeah, these are her pieces. Yeah, yeah. So when we were making this, as much as I wanted it to speak for the artistry of it all, I was like, we need to have paintings, like duh. But obviously, you know, the same thing gets boring all the time. So we have this wall here. We have a wall in the back, but these are all local artists. I really try and keep it Haverhill based, but.
And she is the sweetest human because she doesn't charge a consignment fee.
No, I don't.
She's just like, so whoever's art pieces are up here, they get 100% of their profit.
Yeah,
which is
so
like
so
nice of you.
Yeah, the way that we work it, because I mean, ultimately, you're also decorating my walls, right? So I don't have to.
Right.
Which, thank you very much. And we have it kind of separated as well to make sure we're not potentially splashing on anybody's beautiful pieces and things, but. Every few months, you know, I usually try and go about every 3, but they are very time consuming to get up and get labeled. I actually have to label a couple of these, but we just accept pretty much first come, first serve, like any art pieces for local artists. And I try to, like, I don't really have, I mean, obviously you can see there's a little bit of everything happening, but she was the first one that reached out. But funny enough, she was also a hairdresser. So we did 2 of her pieces. And then from there, like whatever comes in first, I build around that. And then I own bunnies, so the bunnies was kind of like an absolute. So then it made sense to bring in like other animals, but there's always a different array that's happening in here. There was a banana split in the last one. We've had some really, really cool ones. We've had watercolor art, but it's been really fun to see and like just like learn, you know, if it's a hobby for someone, is this something you do professionally? We had another one who had some cultural pieces that were beautiful. We have the Marilyn Monroe one in the back, and the girl.
Wait, someone local did that?
Yes, I can't recall right now. She's not in.
I thought that was like a print that you bought. I took a video of it.
Yeah, the kisses that are on that are her kisses.
Shut up.
Yeah, yeah. So she
oh my god, yeah.
She reached out.
Plug it in.
She's so sweet. She's like, I just kind of like do this for fun, and I really love lipstick, and I had too many, so she just started doing kiss art.
Yeah,
and it's so different, but that is her original.
See, like sometimes, like this is like kind of too with this project. Sometimes I forget just how much free will we can do, and like how much art we can just make whenever, for whatever, with whatever. Like what?
And what's been so funny, because as much as these are like, again, like just, I don't want to say like random, but kind of random pieces that we accept, right? Like she's a hairdresser, so then I make a contact with her, but it was funny that her pieces were very like hair based, right? Versus like, you know, the one in the back, kind of same thing, like it's all kisses, even though it's Marilyn Monroe, it's like kind of still relating, but not all
to
of
the
them
beauty.
Do. Yeah,
exactly.
Industry, and it's just been fun. We haven't had a piece like sell yet. One of our past artists did have something sell off of our website. I don't know if that was from the influence of being in here, but I would love to at some point in time to have like I mean, not that we have a huge space, but like gallery type nights, vendor fairs, stuff like that.
And like let me know if you do that. I'd love to be like involved.
Oh,
even.
for sure. Like, I really need to, I want it to be worth it for people, so we got to build our awareness in the community before I can have that, because obviously if we have everyone setting up and no one knows we're here, that's like kind of a problem. But I think it's really good, and people can stop in at any time, you know, to come and view the pieces if they would like. You know, this one, she brought her own, but we always have, you know, what the name of the piece is, who the artist is, all of their social media, whatever it may be, and the best way to pay them. And basically, you know, hers is through Venmo, so you would scan her QR code, send her the money, you show me the receipt, you take it off the wall, you bring it home. Yeah, we take nothing from it, you know, because it costs nothing for me to have this here, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I love looking at the pieces every, you know, time that they're up and seeing what's new and learning about people too, which is really cool. So it is a nice conversation piece for clients too, because they love, like, especially when I'm hanging them, they're like, what's this? What's that? Oh, tell me
Right.
about this artist. And it's so funny because it
No,
really
I
gets them
love them
involved.
all.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. It was something like, I don't know, again, those little things would just like give back. It's like, listen, I'm a nobody in a way, but like
Right.
absolutely
Well,
show
like
your
you
work
said,
off.
it's doubling as like decorating. Like
Yeah,
you're,
for
so it's
sure.
like,
Yeah, it is. But it's also, you know, like, why am I going to go? I mean, we have some pieces from there, but like TJ Maxx or Burlington and pick up these things that are just sitting there and you're paying a corporate company. Like, it's so important to
right.
me to try and keep it as small as possible. Like, and it's inevitable. Like, we are going to end up shopping at like these big box stores, like, because we need to. But just being able to support other people, I think is the biggest part of it. And that's why it became the Artist Loft too, is because it was like, how do we kind of make this an inclusive space, not only in services, but for other people, and like, how do we keep that collaborative? And you know, we have again, we didn't do many last year because it was our first year, but we do like after hours events. We actually worked with a medium, and she did a Halloween event in here. We have our small business
Oh,
board.
that's
Yeah,
so
we do all
cool.
kinds of stuff. So like, I really wanted this to be more than just a salon. So it comes in our art pieces, our charities, our small business board, like, and hopefully future events that we have going on.
Well, for the audience, do you want to just plug in all of your socials and tell them where
Yeah,
to
for
follow you
sure.
and find
Yeah.
your events?
So our website is theartistloftma.com. All of our social media you can click on from there, but basically the Artist Loft MA is what we are on TikTok, Pinterest. I'm not like, what other social media is out there? I'm like Instagram, Facebook. So we're pretty much on everything besides X or Twitter or whatever it is nowadays.
I
But
still call it Twitter.
yeah. And it honestly, if you search the Artist Loft, some of them are the artistloft.ma, but the Artist Loft will come up. You'll see our rainbow logo. You'll know it's us, but it is linkable from our website, theartistloftma.com.
All
Thank
right,
you so much for
beautiful.
coming
Yeah, no problem. And you can follow me at Kawani's World on YouTube and TikTok. Instagram, it's Kawani's World, but there's just a period between the two words. And I think that's all I have for socials. But
I know they're so hard to keep track of nowadays. There's a million of them.
I know, literally. And I have random like backup pages, and I'm like, it's so much. It's like oh, well, I was like, thank you so much for having me, and like this was so awesome.
Of
Like
course, thank you.
I love talking to you. Like
I
I
know.
love
I'm like, we
meeting
could
you.
sit here all day and do this, but
I
I'm sure we
know.
all have other things to do at the same time.
All right, so give everybody a follow and watch for more. Thank you.